Alrighty, so today we are doing section 1.1, points, lines, and planes. So here are some vocabulary terms that we are going to need in order to begin to talk about section 1.1. So the first term we're going to talk about is point. A point is a location. It has no size or shape. We always use a capital letter to name said point. If we're looking here at our first example, here's point A. We can either use capital letter A, or we can literally call it point A. The next term we're going to talk about here is a line. A line is made up of points. It has 2 points to form a line. A line has no thickness or width. To name a line, you're going to pick 2 points on the line, or you can use the lowercase script or cursive letter off here at the side. You'll normally find it at one of the arrows at the end. So to name it, we can either use this symbol, that means line, and pick 2 capital letters on the line, or we can literally write line, XY, with our 2 capital letters. Again, we can use our symbol for line with our little script letter here, or again, we can write line with our little script letter here. All of those are ways to write or describe a line. When we're talking about lines, there's things that we can talk about that go along with that. So one thing we can talk about is collinear points. Those are points that lie on the same line. So again, looking over here at our example, 2 collinear points are X and Y. Non-collinear points are points that do not lie on the same line. So for example, if off here in space I put Z, X, Y, and Z are non-collinear points. You have to have 3 points in order to be non-collinear. Okay, let's talk about a plane. And no, this is not the thing that flies in the sky. Okay, a plane is a flat surface made up of points. So when I'm talking about a plane, think like a piece of paper or your computer screen or a TV. That kind of thing is what we describe as a plane. Okay, we need 3 points to make up a plane. A plane extends indefinitely in all directions. So the difference between a sheet of paper and an actual plane is that a sheet of paper has ends, right? Like it doesn't go on forever. That would be pretty amazing. A plane will go on forever, but we are going to use the physical description of a paper to help us explain or visualize a plane. To name a plane, we use 3 non-collinear points on the plane or 1 uppercase script or cursive letter. So for example, here's our little diagram. So we can either say plane, we're going to use this as the symbol for plane, so plane, KJL, because those are 3 letters that are non-collinear. We can use plane, P, because that's our little script guy right here. You'll usually find that in the corner somewhere. Well, again, we can write plane P, or we can write plane KJL. You can pick any 3 points again. And they can be in any order. So you could have said LJK, you could say LKJ, as long as you got 3 non-collinear points. Now, just how we talked about with lines, collinear and non-collinear, we can do the same thing with planes. We call them coplanar and non-coplanar points. So, if we look at our diagram here, coplanar points are points that lie on the same plane. So, J, L, and K are all coplanar points. They all lie on plane P. If I were, again, to use a cute little letter over here, M, that's not on that plane, M, K, J, and L are non-coplanar. Now here you can see in bold, it says must be at least 4 points. That's because 3 points make up a plane, 4 points, we can then say, hey, 3 of these are on the same plane, this 4th one is off. Okay. Let's talk intersecting things. So we have objects that can intersect. So for example, here you see 2 lines that intersect. We have line R and line S. They intersect right here at a point. That is point P. We also have 2 planes that intersect. We've got plane L and plane M. Think of L as a vertical, up and down piece of paper. M is that horizontal or straight across piece of paper. They're colliding, and they form this line here, line K. Another way to think of this visually in your space is think of where your wall and your ceiling meet, right? That's going to be like where your crown molding is. That's going to describe that line. That's what we get. Okay, we have some other terms that we have to talk about. The first term is going to be a line segment. A line segment can be measured, and it has two endpoints. Here you see my line segment AB. Here's line endpoint A and endpoint B. To name a line segment, you're going to use this symbol right here above, and your two letters have to be your two endpoints. So here I have segment AB. The next term we're going to talk about is a ray. Ray is part of a line with one endpoint, and then it extends indefinitely in the other direction. So as you can see right here, this is my ray AB. Again, I'm going to use that symbol that looks like a ray. The first letter always has to be the endpoint. The second letter can be any point on that ray. Next term to talk about is opposite rays. Opposite rays are two rays that share a common endpoint but go in opposite directions. So, if I'm going to use my little red highlighter here, here's my first ray, that's ray BC. In addition to that, I also have ray BA going in this direction. Two rays share a common endpoint going in opposite directions. All right, moving on now to some practice. Alrighty, so number one, we are going to use this diagram here with my yellow, red, and blue, and we are going to start to name some things. So it was like 4 collinear points. So I have to look at my diagram and find 4 points that lie on the same line. Those 4 points that lie on the same line are going to be H, N, K, and I. All right, beautiful. If I were to say H, N, K, and J, J does not lie on the same line as H and N, so I couldn't use that one. A line that contains point M. Here's point M. Again, I've got 2 ways that I can name this. I can either name this as line and use my cute little cursive P, or I can name it again line and pick any 2 letters on there. So I'm going to use N-O, my favorite word. Okay, a line that contains point H and K. So here's H and here's K. I want the line that is going to connect those 2. That line is that blue line. We can again name that line R. Or I can pick 2 letters on that. So I could do like N-I, N-K, N-H. I could do K-H. Any of those work. I'm going to do K-H here. Okay, another name for line Q. So line Q is that red line that you see right there. On line Q, we're going to pick 2 letters. So here I'm going to use JK. So line JK. Next, I need the intersection of line P and R. So line P is that yellow line. R is going to be that blue line. 2 lines, again, intersect at a point. So I need to find the point at which those 2 lines cross. They cross right here at point N. Fabulous. All right, number 2. Use the diagram to the right to describe the following. So for this diagram, I want you to visualize a piece of paper and take your pencil and get all of your anger out and stab it through that paper. That is what this diagram looks like. Okay? That's your visualization. If you see line K right here, that's going straight through that piece of paper. That's the pencil that stabs through it. If you look here at line J is on the plane. Think of like if you drew a line on your paper. That is what that is describing. Okay? A line containing point F. So again, I'm going to just use line with my lowercase fancy j. You could do any 2 points on the line, that works too. Another name for line K. So line K is that green line, and I'm going to use 2 points that lie on that line. You could do BE, you could do BC, or EC. Let's do BE. A plane containing point A. So on my paper, you see point A right here. The plane containing that, again, I can pick 4 or 3 letters that are non-collinear, or I can just name it plane M with my little fancy cursive M. Okay? An example of 3 non-collinear points. So those are 3 points that do not lie on the same plane or same line. So I'm going to do D, E, and A. Collinear, non the same line. Intersection of plane M and line K. So again, think paper stabbed through pencil. Where do those 2 things meet? They're going to meet right there at point E. All right, I'm going to pause here for just a minute on 3. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the answers for 3. Here are the answers for 3. So if you have questions, come see me during office hours, and we can go over some of the questions if you have more questions or don't agree with my answers. All right, moving on to 4. Use the diagram to the right to name the following. So here for this diagram, we're thinking 2 pieces of paper with a pencil stabbing through it. That pencil is going to be this line right here, line L. Okay, and again, line M, which I will highlight in brown, because, why not? M is going to be drawn on that paper Q. Okay? The intersection of line L and M. So where does the orange line and the brown line cross? They cross right here at point E. Name another name for plane Q. So plane Q is this piece of paper right here. Okay, I'm going to name it with 3 points. So I'm going to use plane, F, E, and I. 3 points that are non-collinear. Are points D and E collinear or coplanar? D and E are on the same line, so that would be collinear. Coplanar would mean that they are on the same plane. These do not show that they are on the same plane, so we're just going to stay with collinear. How many times do plane P and plane Q intersect? So looking at the diagram, do you see anything on where they're touching? No. So how many times do they intersect? 0. All right, go ahead and follow the directions above to complete the practice for today.